What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, thanks for tuning in. So if you saw my last video, you would know already that I am planning on building a fuse and relay block for my truck. If you haven't seen it, I'm basically building a fuse and relay block, one, to help organize all the wiring that I have on the truck from all the different aftermarket parts. And the other part is building a upfitter switch type setup where I don't have to run a ton of different wiring harnesses. I can have it all nice and clean in one harness. So that's just kind of making things cleaner. So my last video was all talking. This video I want to try to just kind of get right into it and get going. So I'll show you guys where I'm at. So here's the setup so far. As you can see right here, I kind of have a template marked out. What I did was I actually went into the truck and kind of cut out a cardboard template to give me a rough idea of how much space I had to work with in the location I was going off of. And then obviously got the fuse panel, all the relays, relay wiring, all the different terminal connectors, heavy gauge, I want to say it's 8 gauge, maybe 6 gauge, I can't remember off the top of my head, heavy gauge wiring for the power and ground. Got a 100 amp fuse for that, which is less than what this panel is rated for. So I should be in the clear for all of that. That breaker should trip before this panel fries. And that being said, I highly doubt that I'll ever end up pulling 100 amps at the same time out of this thing. If I had everything hooked up and running at the same time that I have right now, I still don't even think I'd have to worry about it. But just for safety precautions, I think this is a 120 amp rated fuse block. I'm putting a 100 amp fuse on it just to be safe. Obviously, you can look up all the connecting or all the wire ratings for your different wiring that you're using. Based on how short of a run I am going to be doing, this should be plenty. But yeah, this is the setup that I'm going to be doing for my truck. As of right now, I have a bunch of different harnesses going off of the batteries, which I really don't like. I guess I'll just go and show you real quick for those of you that didn't see my last video. Here you go, under the hood of my 7.3 Powerstroke. Nice painted intercooler piping. That doesn't matter, it's not related. But this is what I was talking about, of just the mess of wiring, and it's really not that bad right now. But I do have a number of different aftermarket wiring going to this battery, and I don't like it. I don't think it looks clean, and so my plan is to run my new fuse block and relay block back there in that corner, so it's all tucked away and nice and neat, and you don't have this jumble of wires coming off the batteries. That's just something that bothers me. So yeah, that's a little bit of a look at kind of what I'm talking about. This should allow me to get rid of all these wires coming off the batteries and just have one, or my positive and my ground leading back to the fuse block, and then all the other wires can be tucked away nice and neat. So there you go. That's kind of the goal of this whole setup, is to get rid of all that wiring. It's not really getting rid of it, but it's kind of tucking it away and hiding it and making it all nice and neat, just so it looks cleaner. Or kind of two main reasons. One, it looks cleaner, and two, it's just easier to deal with. If you ever work on the batteries or pull the batteries, you don't have to deal with all those extra wires. I just think it looks cleaner. You can see a lot of trucks online that their battery terminals look like mine or worse, with all the different aftermarket stuff on them, and I think it looks really bad. And then you can see nice clean builds that have their own wiring managed really nicely, and it makes a big difference. And if it doesn't please anybody else, at least it'll please me. So you may be wondering, what all am I running on my truck? I'll give a brief overview of it and kind of what I'm looking at. I doubt I will fully use this fuse panel, but I should be able to use, or I plan on using, all of these relays. So I'll kind of go over what I have right now and what I would hope to add in the future as to why I am doing this. So I have my AirDog fuel pump, so that'll be one relay. I have my rigid fog lights, that'll be another relay. I want to put on reverse lights for the truck on a switch, so that's going to be another relay. I want to put on probably a small light bar up front, and so that'll be another relay. And then right now, this last one is just going to be a spare relay, just to allow me to have room to grow. Of course, it's not much room to grow, but if need be, I can stack on top of these and wire them in just about the same way. But I don't think I'm going to end up going much farther than that on this rig. This isn't too terribly of a complicated process, but it is a bit of a time-consuming process, especially if you want it to look clean. So I think that's just about all the explaining that needs to be done to start with. I'll get to work and kind of give you updates as I go along. I know some of you guys were interested in doing a job like this. You let me know on my last video. So that's why I'm making this video, kind of going a little more in depth on how I'm doing it. But yeah, I'm going to, I think, cut this out and start running some wiring on it. And you guys will see how it goes. Guys, I want to give you guys a little bit of an update of where I'm at right now. As you can see, I have fuse block mounted up. I have 4 of the relays mounted up. Not quite sure how I want to do the 5th one for my fuel pump, because I'm going to be running heavier gauge wire for it than these. But in general, I wanted to give you guys this update and a little bit of an explanation of, for those of you that might not be familiar with relays, how this works. Now, for some of you guys, this may just be common sense, but for those that are not aware of this, this can be very useful information, so bear with me. A relay is basically like a protector for the circuit so that you're not overpowering a small switch. You can run all the higher load wires through the relay right here, and that way the heavy load goes through here and only the small load actually goes through the switch, and it just helps protect the switch itself from shorting out, because usually switches, whether they say so or not, are not built to handle super heavy currents or loads. I'm not an electrician, so if I say the wrong term, give me a break. So how a relay works is you have, I'll explain it in terms of these ones. You have 5 wires normally. I took off the 5th one, and I'll explain that later. But 5 or 4 main wires that you're going to be using. One of them is going to be the main power wire coming into the relay, which is this red one. This is the wire that I'm going to be hooking up to the actual fuse block itself, and that's going to be supplying the power for the system, basically. And then, of course, you have a ground wire, which is this black one. It's electricity, so you need a ground. And then you have this white wire, or the trip wire, which is what would go to the switch or whatever you want to trip the relay to turn it on. So if you're thinking of a relay, think of it in terms of it being a switch where you have power coming into it and power coming out of it, and something that tells it to turn on and off. Instead of a switch with you just flip it, it's got an electrical signal that then turns it on and off. So like in a relay, when you hear it flip on, you hear that click. That is the actual signal coming into the relay and flipping a solenoid inside of it to connect the power. So obviously you got your ground, we can ignore that. We have our power coming in to the relay, which is this red one. We have the white wire, which is our trigger wire, and when we send current through this wire, it'll flip the relay and then in turn tell it to send power back out this blue wire. Well, hopefully that makes sense. We have power coming into the system with the red wire. We have the ground for the system with the white wire. Our trigger wire is the white wire, which is what I'm going to be running to the switches inside my truck. And then when I flip the switch inside my truck and it sends the power signal to the relay through this white wire, it'll then flip it and then send the power, or the main load of power, out to whatever device it is. So let's say I have LED lights that I want to power up. I'm going to hook up this power wire going to the LED lights. I'm going to have a ground off of the LED lights going to whatever they need to ground on. And when I flip the switch on this white wire, it's going to send the signal into the relay, bring it back, turn it on, and bring that heavy load back out to the device itself. Hopefully that makes sense. Once I get it wired up a little more, I think it'll make more sense, and I can show you guys what it actually looks like. But that's just a quick explanation. One other quick tip for you guys is I would highly recommend building boxes like this for different types of work that you're going to be doing. So like this box I have, this is my electrical box. So this box is my electrical box, and I have just about every little piece of electrical thing I can do or need for any type of job. It may not be for a huge job, but if I need to grab something and go to take care of something electrical, I can take this bin and know that I have just about everything I need for it. Now this is geared more towards automotive electrical because that's more stuff that I do, but I have all different connectors and heat shrink and testers, wiring. Literally almost everything I would need is in this box. I even have a little 12-volt battery inside the box in case I need to do testing on the bench, which I actually use quite a bit. I threw together this box when I was wiring up or building the harness to put in my 2017 Plus mirrors on the truck, and it is absolutely phenomenal being able to grab a box and have almost everything you need in it for a job like this. Because as you can see, it starts to get pretty chaotic. So that's just a little tip. Put together nice little job boxes, whether it be plumbing or electrical or woodworking or something, where you can grab a box and for the general job it'll have everything you need in it, and it just makes your life a whole lot easier. Alrighty guys, I think I am at a stopping point for the day. Made pretty good progress. I'm pretty happy with how it's going. As you can see, I have all the main powers hooked up and all the main grounds hooked up. All these wires you see up here are the trigger wires that I'll be running into the truck. See if I can focus. Trigger wires that will be running into the truck to the switches. And then these are the actual main feed wires or power feed wires that go to the devices themselves. So I am really honestly almost done with this stuff, or at least with this panel, and I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out. As you can see, I don't have the relays on it right now. They're all back here in the corner, but right here is where all of the relays will plug in, and they will be easily accessible, easy to change, just nice to work with. Ignore all the spider webs and stuff. It's actually hot glue. You guys probably saw that in the video or in the time lapse. All this stuff is actually hot glued down right now. No, that's not my permanent solution. My idea behind this was I want to be able to have it fixed into place so it's easy to manipulate the wires while these wouldn't be moving all around, so I could get set distances and cut the wires to the right lengths and everything, and it actually worked out a lot better than I expected. It's easy to pop these off, it's easy to get the hot glue off, but as far as actually lining up the wires go, it held it in place perfectly. So I'm actually really happy with that. I will probably end up using that in the future, and I would recommend it to you guys. But yeah, so I guess a little bit of an explanation now that we got more of it wired up. Like I said, the point of the system is so you're not drawing high currents through the switches inside your truck, you're actually running them through the relays. So how that works is we have a main power line going into this fuse block and a negative line going to that, or ground, and then all of these will be fused. You can see this one has a fuse in it, but each one of these slots will have a fuse in it. Depending on what I'm running on that circuit will depend on what fuse I'm using, just like you have in your truck. You have all the negatives connected here, and so what it'll be is you have the main power feed coming into the relay, and then you have this main power feed coming out to what your device is. And so all you have to do is hook this up to a switch or some sort of trigger source. So when a signal comes in here, it'll come into the relay, flip the relay, and tell whatever device it is to turn on. Super simple system. I think when I get this all set up, I'll probably set it with, or hook up like a test light or something so I can demonstrate it for you guys. But overall, it's coming together really nicely. I think it is turning out pretty darn good. So all I have to do now is build a harness to go into the truck for the switches, which is simple, and then these will simply be the power sources that I hook up to my auxiliary units. As you can see, what you probably didn't notice, is this relay is actually, the power wires are a lot bigger. And that's because it is going to my fuel pump. I wanted heavier gauge wires going to that, and so that's a good example of why you run relays. It's because you don't want to be running wires like this to switches inside your truck. You can run it in a safe manner to a relay that's meant to handle that power load. You know, I don't think my fuel pump's going to really draw that much power, but based on some reading I have done online, some people have said, or a good number of people have said, that the air dogs actually run a lot better if you build up the harness a little bit. So I'm going to try it out. I figure it wouldn't hurt. So there, I'm going to have the pump tied in here. It'll be easy to change any fuses, easy to change any relays. It'll all be nice, clean, and organized on top of the truck. Just make my life easier. Like I said, that'll be it for this video. I'm probably end up putting this into 2 or 3 different videos, so it's not one super long video. Based on all of your guys' watch time analytics, I can see all that statistical information, and for the most part, you guys don't really like long videos. People don't watch them all. I know a lot of you guys do, so hopefully this was useful. This is going to be part 1 of the relay and fuse block build. Next video, I'm guessing I'll probably be getting it in the truck and close to buttoning it up, if I don't button it up all the way in the next video. So stick around for that one. I'll be getting these done as quick as I can, so it's not a long wait between the videos, but I don't know exactly how long it's going to take, when I'm going to have the time to do it. So stick around. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on this, or if you're interested in on this. Like I always say, if you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I can get back to just about everybody that comments still. The channel's getting to the point where it is getting a little harder to respond to everybody, but I am doing my best, and I'm at least reading all the comments, and if it's a question for me or whatnot, I will respond to you guys, I promise, at least for now. So if you have any questions, leave them down below and I'll answer it the best I can, and maybe put it in the next video if something really seems to be unclear. Yeah, that'll be it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.